Hey guys, if you're just starting to homeschool, one of the questions that you have to really hit and get through is this legal and how do I do it legally? And the answer is yes, it's legal. If you are living in the United States, it is legal to homeschool your child. The truth is, it's different in every single state, so how to do it legally really depends on where you live. So the first thing you need to do is go to hslda.org. This is the legal defense team for homeschoolers, and you have to pay to be able to have access to their legal advice and their legal help, and you can absolutely do that. But in addition to offering that great service, they also offer this website that has all of the different laws for all of the different states so that you can see exactly what you need to do to be legal in your state. So on their homepage, choose the menu Legal and then State Homeschool Laws. And when you choose that, it comes up with this really lovely color-coded map that shows all the different states in America, and it's colored based on how much regulation each state has. So some states have like no regulation. You don't have to do anything. Show up, homeschool your kid, don't homeschool your kid, we don't care. That's really, really low regulation. And then some states have lots of regulation. You have to have a college degree, and you have to have a public school teacher that is over you for the whole time and is checking up on you and making sure that your child is learning as they think that you ought to be. And then you have to have a portfolio or some sort of test stuff at the end of the year to be able to get passed off by the public school teacher before you can move on. So, and those are kind of the two extremes. Most states fall somewhere in the middle of that. So you choose your state. I'm just going to look at my state because I'm familiar with my state. And now on the map page, it says, here are the North Carolina homeschool laws at a glance, blah, 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 here they are. And then I can say view complete details. And you want to do this because even though it's nice to see overall what you need to do, okay, so I only need to be following this from the time my kids are age 7 to age 16, it's still important to figure out precisely what is it that we're talking about. So go into the details. So all states basically have three things that you have to do. You have to do the legal stuff to get started, the legal stuff to continue, and the legal stuff to stop. If you have any sort of legal, anything that is required, it just basically falls into those three categories. Some states have a couple different options. Maybe you want the religious option, maybe you want the umbrella option. There are different options. When it comes to the options, you need to know you only choose one. Whichever one most closely fits how you're going to do it anyway, choose that one and follow the criteria in that particular path. You don't have to meet the criteria for every single path. Just choose one path and make sure that you're good in that path and you're good to go. So in my state, we have to submit a notice of intent. So we have to actually send in a letter, and I just did it online, and they send me back a form online and say good to go. And you just say, hey, this is who I am, these are my kids, these are their ages, I'm going to be homeschooling them. That's the first section. That's how you legally get started in North Carolina. Then to legally continue, oh, I forgot about this one. You actually have to have a high school diploma. And I don't know if I found my high school diploma. I might have it somewhere in my files, or if I just found some sort of evidence that I have one. But you only do that once. You show that you are qualified to the degree that they need you to be, and then you've completed that. In our state, it's only once. You don't have to do it every single year. Then you have the maintenance things, the things that you have to do on an ongoing basis. So in our state, that means you have to provide the required days of instruction, you have to keep attendance and immunization records, and you have to administer an annual standardized test. So those are the three things that I have to do. Now, sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, like, oh my goodness, that's so much stuff, and how can I do it? This is really not that hard. You providing the days of instruction, if you're teaching your kids school like 4 or 5 days a year, or I'm sorry, a year, that's not enough. But if you do it 4 or 5 days a week, you're going to hit those numbers, you're going to be fine. Especially if you're like me and you do it throughout the year. You will hit your days, that is fine, do not worry about that. Keeping the attendance, you just have to mark the days that you're there. I happen to have a day timer that I'm sort of writing down what we're doing anyway, so I can even go in after the fact and just look at the days that we were in school and mark them in attendance that day. So that is really not that hard. You get your immunization records and you stick it in the folder. That's a one-time thing. That's all you have to do. And then the annual test, that is something that comes up and you have to remember to do it. But again, you just do it once a year. You just take care of that and then it's done. So being aware of this, it just takes off a lot of pressure. When you know what you have to do, you can kind of get it all done at the same time. You can say, okay, I'm just going to gather up all of our attendance records and all of our immunization stuff and all of our, testing stuff, put it in a folder, and I'm going to leave it there. And then this same time next year, I'm going to update all of it. You can do that. You can do it however you want. It doesn't need to be something that you fret about or deal with all the time. It's just kind of a once a year thing, and it's not as stressful as it really feels when you first start. And the last category is closing your homeschool. So here's the thing, it's really tempting, especially if you live in a state where they're kind of pushy and dominant and frustrating. It's tempting to just walk away and not tell them about it. It kind of is the last thing you can do to show your defiance. But don't. Don't do that. And here's why. Because it gives the whole homeschool community a black eye. And there are a lot of people out there who are trying to help you. The homeschool community itself, from the legal standpoint, the people who are trying to make sure that we have good homeschool laws, all the way down to your local community members who are just trying to have a good co-op. Having that list be accurate about who is homeschooling and where they live, that helps everybody. So letting people know when you move or when you close your homeschool might seem like a hassle and maybe you don't really have to do it, but it's so important to be able to do that to maintain just the whole image of homeschooling on the whole, and also to help people who are just trying to help you. That is important as well. So be sure that you fulfill this. I think my message today is yes, be legal, but don't worry about it. It's not that hard. Even in the hardest states, I know people who homeschooled in Pennsylvania and they said, it's not that bad. You can do it. It's not that tricky. And so it is absolutely possible in every single state. Pennsylvania, if you don't know, is one of the hardest states. It has one of the highest regulations. Pennsylvania and New York are known to be very difficult states to homeschool in, but you can do it. You can do it there. You can do it anywhere. It is legal everywhere. And I just think once you know what is required, you just do it and it's done. You're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to handle it. And you can talk to people and find out, contact HSLDA. Tell them, I do not understand this. How do I do this in my state? They will help you through the process. But you're totally capable of doing this. You're totally capable of being legal and then feeling that relief and not worried that somebody's going to come and try to shut down my homeschool. And in a lot of states, they can't. They cannot even legally shut down your homeschool. So getting on here and knowing what your rights are enables you to feel much more confident. So if anybody does overstep their bounds and say, hey, I'm here to tell you, you have to send your kids back to public school because of XYZ, you'll know in your state, XYZ does not exist. They don't have the right to be even doing that. Know what your rights are, know what the legal requirements are, and fulfill those legal requirements. It's not that hard, and it really provides a lot of calm assurance and also confidence that you can go forward and do a good job focusing on the things that actually matter, which is giving your kids a great education. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. You are doing a really, really important job. Being a mom, being a dad really matters, and you're doing a much better job than you think you are. Keep it up. Thanks. Bye.